Good morning, girls. In the last class, we were talking about the social organization during the later Vedic period. And we learned that during this period, the caste system it became more rigid, and the three classes, that is the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, they had the right to the Upanayana or the sacred thread ceremony. Whereas the fourth class, that is the lowest class, the Shudras, they neither had the right to bear the sacred thread, nor were they allowed to recite the Gayatri mantra. And we also discussed about the four stages of the Aryan life. Then these stages they were divided. They were known as the ashramas, and each of these stages they were divided into 25 years. And we saw that the first stage, brahmacharya, was the period when the person was sent to a gurukul for his education. Then came the grihastha, where the person was allowed to get married and have children. And then was the third stage, was the vanaprastha, where the person had to give up his worldly life and was supposed to go to the forest for meditation. And during the sannyasa, the last and the fourth stage, sannyasa, during which he had to give up his worldly life and lead a simple life. So these were the four stages. Now we'll continue with the social organization. So we'll talk about the family system during the later Vedic period. The joint family system remained the norm during the later Vedic age. So during the later Vedic age, it was normal to find joint family systems. Joint family systems became very normal during the later Vedic age. However, the power of the head of the family increased. During the later Vedic period, the power of the head of the family began to increase. Now the eldest man of the family, the eldest male member of the family, was the head of the family, and during this period the power of the head of the family began to increase. The status of the women declined in society. They were no more allowed to participate in the assemblies. So when it came to the later Vedic period, the status of men, that is a status of women, that is a position of women, it began to decline, and they were no more allowed to participate in the assemblies, in the popular assemblies. We had learnt that during the early Vedic period, men and women, they had equal rights, and women, they were allowed to participate in debates, in assemblies, in tribal assemblies, popular assemblies, everything. But when it came to the later Vedic period, these rights began to decrease, and women, they were no longer allowed to participate in these assemblies. Gurukul system. The later Vedic age had a special system of education. Usually at the age of 7, a boy was sent to a Gurukul, that is the house of the teacher. So during the later Vedic period, the educational system which existed was known as the Gurukul system, and according to this system, during this age, a boy who was of the age of 7, usually at the age of 7, he was sent to a Gurukul, and this Gurukul was the house of the teacher. He was supposed to live there until he completed his education. So the boy, he was supposed to spend his educational life in this Gurukul until he completed his education. The Guru treated his students like his own children, and these students, they were treated like the Guru's own children. The teacher treated them as his own children. The student was required to do household work for his teacher, and in return the student, he was supposed to do household work, that is the work of the house. He was supposed to do household work for the teacher. He had to get up early in the morning, take his bath, and chant the Vedic mantras. So the students in the Gurukul, they had a routine. They had a specific routine where they had to get up early in the morning, they had to take a bath, and then they had to recite the Vedic mantras. Most of the teaching was done orally, and the students were required to learn everything by heart. So there were no writings. Or anything during this later Vedic period in the Gurukul system. So everything was taught or orally. They were taught orally, and students, they were expected to learn everything by heart. They had to learn everything by heart. The students were taught Vedic literature, grammar, astronomy, medicine, music, architecture, and the art of warfare. So, the education teaching was given in every field. They were taught about Vedic literature, they were taught about grammar, astronomy. Astronomy, it is a study of the physical universe. So, they were taught about astronomy. Then, they had the knowledge about medicine, music, architecture, and warfare. After completing the education, the students paid Guru Dakshina or a fee to the teacher according to their means. So, after education, after completing their education, every student was supposed to pay a Guru Dakshina, that is a fee, the education fee to the Guru, and this fee they could pay according to their own means, according to their ability. So, this was the education system which existed during the later Vedic period. Now, we'll discuss about the economy. During the later Vedic age, the Aryans began to lead a settled life. So, during the later Vedic period, during the later Vedic age, the Aryans, they became more settled. They started to live a settled life. Agriculture became their chief means of livelihood. So, during this period, their main source of living, their main source of earning was agriculture. The use of iron implements helped them to increase production. So, they started to use iron materials, iron tools. They started to use iron tools, and this increased their production. They started to produce more with the help of these iron tools, iron instruments. Besides barley, they began to cultivate wheat and rice. So, they had cultivation. They used to cultivate barley, wheat, and rice. They used painted grey vessels which have been discovered at many sites in northern India. So, these Aryans during the later Vedic period, they used to use vessels, grey vessels which were painted, grey painted vessels, and these vessels later on were discovered from many parts of northern India. The people specialized in art and crafts like weaving, pottery making, and leather work. So, apart from agriculture, they also did different arts and crafts. They were specialized, they were experts in arts and crafts like weaving, that is weaving of clothes, pottery making, where they used to make pots, and then leather work. They knew how to work with leather. The rise of new arts and crafts encouraged trade and commerce. So, when people were specialized, when people were experts in arts and crafts, new arts and crafts began to rise, and this led to the increase of trade and commerce. The end of the later Vedic age also saw the rise of towns. So, when the later Vedic age, when it began to end, when it began to decline, there were many towns rising up because there were more. The people were experts in arts and crafts, so they began to trade these arts and crafts, and thus the cities and towns began to rise during the end of the later Vedic age. So, this is about the economy during the later Vedic period. So, today we learnt about the family in the later Vedic period and the Gurukul system, the education system which existed during the later Vedic period, and also the economy of this period. So, we'll stop for today, girls. Thank you.